The record home tweaks is a JavaScript PHP-based RedCap external module. What it does, as stated in the documentation, the record home tweaks is a collection of small adjustments that can be made to the record home screen, as we're in here now, or otherwise it allows for tweaks to the display and organization of events and instruments on a record's homepage. The features of the module include adding an alert to the top of the record homepage, so it will reside here. Some suggested uses are items such as FIs on new instruments or recent changes, and whatever ideas that you can
Did
add
everybody
for that.
lose Michael?
Pardon me? Carol, you had a question?
Can anyone hear anything?
I can, but it sounds like Michael's audio is cutting it out in and out on my end.
Yeah, I hear it. It's just that a couple times, rarely, it's been a little garbled, but I don't think it's
Okay.
affected anything yet. So could be just
Okay.
internet connection or storm or something, but you can keep going on and then we'll see if it goes out. But Carol, are you not getting anything?
Yeah, she put in the chat that she lost audio.
Okay, I didn't see that, Carol.
Oh, well, we can hear.
Okay,
Um,
thank you.
so
I'll keep going. So,
yeah, okay.
okay. So that's one of the features is adding an alert to the top of the record homepage. Adding the preferred alignment or wrapping of headers in the instrument or event table. Specifically align table headers to the top of the cell. So our table headers are these items here. Um, Align table headers to the center of the cell and prevent wrapping, as we see with some of these compound words. And remove the table collapse button, which we see over here on the far left. It's kind of faint, but what that does is collapse all headers, or excuse me, all instruments. And then always align buttons to the center of the cell. So that's another feature. Each of those can be set independently according to your preferences. And then the other features that are included are removing repeating instrument tables. So some of these tables can be removed. I'll remove everything that isn't study related in a sense. So I'm removing the system management. And with that, move an event to a separate system management table to signal that it doesn't represent a typical visit per se. And then hide rows, for instance, hide a form. For example, here, this is a form I'm going to hide. It's called hide form to hide. And I do have data in some of them. Hide columns. So for example, our column event to hide in the instrument or event table, and highlight an events column if today is its scheduled day or if the event is in window. Meaning, for example, if there is something that's upcoming or actually in process, the whole column will be highlighted. And additionally, the last feature that is listed in our documentation is to group events into tabs. So for example, I'll group select events into their own exclusive tab when displaying the new page. So we'll be working in the record homepage and somewhat in the record status dashboard. The installation of this module has already been completed at the system level. With the appropriate user rights, RedCap users can search for and enable any available external modules. Modules can be found by navigating to the Manage link, which we see here. So we have our Manage link within the external modules heading in your RedCap tool pane. I'll click on that and we will then search for our module by clicking on the enable module. And here we will enable. And now that we're enabled, I'm going to go back to the dashboard and select a current existing record, and then we'll add a record. So here we can see our display here is displaying our alert. It is HTML, it accepts HTML. And this is a static image, by the way. And looking at this page, we can see that we have our highlight. We are supporting form display logic. And in our exclusive and separate system management table, we can also use our repeating instruments and events. Here we can see that tabs have opened up, and with that we still have some configuration to do. I'm going to go back into our dashboard, and well, actually we'll add a new record. So for the new record, this is what we see. So at its onset, I have some conditional logic to satisfy. So I'm going to satisfy that here. I'm just going to set that as complete, save and exit. And then here we have what's called an add tab. This add tab, since it's at the inception of the table, will not actually, and the other thing is there is branching logic added to this, although the branching logic states to display the event and or the tab, such as when the conditional logic is satisfied. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to continue to satisfy some conditions. We're going to save and exit. And then what we'll see is the remainder of the setup for events that I've established within this project. We have V1, V2, V3, a navigation to display one of the features, and also an additional event that will display a form hide, and then an event to hide. This is actually the navigation button that will redirect users to the record homepage. So here we're going to go ahead and complete additional logic, and we'll see we have our enrollment highlight in our column. We'll go into our visit one. You can see the action that takes place when I'm going to reload. So when I do that, we have an action that occurs. So when we click our add tab, we see our display shift. That's because it's adjusting behind, and we have a new tab here with our events. And this is how I clustered it. So we're going to go ahead and continue with our conditional logic satisfaction, and we'll move forward. So here you can see that automatically it defaults back to the enrollment tab. So it's kind of misleading in the sense that, well, wait a minute, this is not the same tab. So you have to click it again. So this is another detail that I discovered with it. But the as we go through, we'll go ahead and apply visit to logic.
Michael,
Yes.
remind me again, why is the V1 in green?
V1 in green. So that's a feature. That's a highlight. V1. Okay, V1. You mean here?
It was green. Now V2 is green. Click on Visit To tab. Well, that's not in green either. What about Vision 3? What happened to the green?
Are you referring to
Yeah, that
this?
thing. That
Okay,
thing.
yeah, that's the highlight. So for example, if something is quote unquote in window, the highlight will display um, leading
Ah,
users to that column or to, so it's basically a workflow type of module. So the workflow for study or whatever you're using your project for. So that's its intended purpose. So if we go into our visit 3 and we highlight our final visit and we satisfy the conditions that have applied here, we'll go ahead and complete this autofill. We're gonna mark that complete. And here we're in our final visit. I'm going to go ahead and continue with our logic. And here we have another highlight or would-be highlight. So this is repeating. Completion data. Okay, and there it is. So we're looking at our final visit highlight, and that could be applied to any event that you select or desire to use. I want to point out a method to navigate to our.
are you planning on showing us how that's set up?
Yes, yes, I'm going to show the configuration.
Okay.
So we have our navigation tab, and with that, I'll show our, um, because I don't have the navigation um, applied yet, other than set up, so we can see that when we click on it, we can actually fill out the data. We can complete our form, um, but when it's applied, that isn't possible. We're going to save and exit, and then go into our configuration. So we're going to go into the manage. We look at our configuration here. Here I have, this is where we set our HTML or whatever you want to apply for our record home alert. Here are our alignment characteristics. And then we have system management. So our system management is um, our exclusive table that sits above. And then we have a form to hide. So I'm going to go ahead and apply some of these other settings. Form to hide and event to hide. So I'm going to hide an event, and then we're going to apply our form to block navigation to, and then repeating instrument table to hide. So we'll go ahead and the other thing about that is I'm only selecting one, but you can select more. So I'm going to go ahead and select more than one for our repeating instrument tables to hide. We have our installation, configuration, um, user requirement specification, and so forth. So we have the ability to apply as many as we need, is my point. And the other thing is you have a feature for showing a repeating instrument table at full width. I selected administrative one, and then here for the scheduled date. So on the day that the event will be highlighted to draw attention to it and direct end user to enter data into the correct event. So that's the goal of this feature, is to direct study flow. And so what I have here is a variable, which is a date variable, and then I have the event that the variable resides in, and it will need data entered for it to actually display. And then for a start range, I'm using a This is a separate table. We saw this in the final visit. Um, here are my select variables. It's just asking for a start range date and end range date, and then the event that it applies to. Here we have events grouped into tabs. So similarly, you can apply as many as you need. Um, Here I have, and it does accept HTML within the hide tab. So I listed our enrollment, and then everything that's in lowercase is our that's our add tab label, and then our actual tab label that displays when we click our add tab is the first one listed. And we have some conditional logic here, some branching logic that I've applied. And for each event. To make it easy, I just as soon as this is completed, the event will display and so forth. It works similar to fields, although you can really get into the weeds if one of these is not that it's wrong, it's just that it's more ordinal, so in the order that it actually occurs, so or sequential actually, excuse me. So this is the complete list of events that have applied. I'm going to save that with our new settings. We're going to go back into a record, or actually we'll add a record. We'll add a new record and we'll see it from the beginning again. So here we have, um,
Oh,
Carol.
sorry, I didn't do that on purpose.
Okay. Okay. And so what I did wanted to display, actually, let's go back into the, another discovery that I made here is we have what's called we're in the dashboard, but if I go to the record homepage, we have a repeating event displayed here. And when I look at any one of the participants or records with a repeating
All right. I guess he got tired of displaying that module. So I'm gonna, Michael, we're gonna take a break here for just a second. We lost you there. Are you back for good? I don't know if you can hear me. You're muted. All right. I don't know what's going on with him, but we'll take a short break for Lauren. You want to go
I'm
ahead?
here, I'm back. I got kicked off of Zoom. But I'll go back to where I was at. So can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. So let's see, share. Okay. So um, one thing I wanted to point out with the repeating events is that the actual data is collected within the repeating event, although it doesn't display within your customized table. So it will be within the dashboard. So if we view the record, we can see every occurrence or instance, although within the record itself, we go to the home page, that displays differently. So there may be some non-compatibility with the repeating event. And then for the form display logic, we have Let's see if we can find our navigation. So here we have our navigation. If you notice, nothing occurs, so I'm not able to actually open that. So if we go back into our dashboard and click on our navigation tab, it'll take us to the home page. And so that's the navigation. So the other feature that I pointed out was a hidden row and a hidden column. So with our hidden row and hidden column, that was in between. Let's go into another record. So this is our event to hide. If we go back into the configuration, I'm not sure. So our event to hide, form to hide, event to hide, and then form to block navigation. So let's save that. Let me get over there and just reload. And now they're gone. So we no longer see our form, and then we'll also, for some reason, our event's still showing. That I'm not sure. Our repeating instruments tables have been removed. They're no longer displaying, which were installation through performance, although user requirement is not a repeating instrument. And that is in bulk what the module is capable of and what it provides. We added our alert to the top of the record homepage. We added the alignment. We removed our repeating instrument tables. We moved an event to a separate system management table up here. We also hid rows, or at least one row. We hid one column. We displayed our highlight. And we grouped our events into tabs. So here we have our respective tabs. And I need to point out that this module, I wouldn't recommend using this module on a longitudinal project with multiple arms. And additionally, I discovered that when an event is moved to a separate table, forms designated for that table cannot use the module's form hide feature. So what I mean by that is within the system management, you can't hide a form in here. I am using form display logic for an administrative event or form, and then so it's compatible for that. And with that completes my demonstration.